pop culture. Everything is permitted.
Welcome to the 50th episode of Everything is Permitted. I'm your host, Julian Brown, alongside my co-host, the Man of Steel, Matt Reppert, and the Master of Puns, Brittany Tomes. How we doing?
Doing awesome.
I'm also doing awesome.
Yep. I'm doing awesome.
Awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Rob is also joining us for this episode. He's here with us too. One of our brand new social media coordinators, an EIP VIP as well, Rob McCavity Migliaccio, in the house. And
McCavity. I'm so sorry. Oh, that was bad.
If you didn't notice at the beginning of the episode, I didn't say we're at Wade's Comic Madness. We are not at our normal home today because we are recording our first ever location show.
On site.
We're here at Mazhu Axes. Thanks to Rob for putting this whole thing together. It's been a blast. We recorded our segment talking about axe throwing before we started our main show, so you don't hear the axes now. You will later. It was a blast, so thank you so much for putting this together.
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming out. You guys really kicked some axe.
Oh.
Right at you, Brittany.
I love it. I love the eye contact.
I like how excited Brittany got at that.
And I said it at the same time.
No, but seriously, you guys were really, really good, so.
It was a blast. Like, I can't stop talking about it. I'm so excited. Like I said, we're celebrating our 50th episode by throwing axes, which we already did. We had a blast. You know, we did talk to Toby and Bill Benu here, who are the owners. I do want to thank them one more time before we get going with the rest of the show. We had so much fun. And then, kind of another cool announcement for the show. For the longest time, I've had this thought about wanting to have my dad on the show. My dad is the reason I'm into film in a big way, into television. He is a film critic, a film professor. He's done it all when it comes to film. So he's a big inspiration to me. He's going to come on the show and review The Gentleman, the latest Guy Ritchie film, with us. So looking forward to that. And then finally, as we celebrate our 50th episode, look back at some of our favorite moments since the show's inception, which I dare say got out of hand real quick sometimes.
They're incredible, though.
They are incredible. And we did do some Facebook polls, so we'll be reading those as well. Announcements. Next week, episode 51, will be our final episode of the season. We'll be joined by Rob once again, and we'll fulfill his Indiegogo contribution way back when by taking him on a movie date to see Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
I'm so proud of you every time you do it.
I know. I do it. And then, Rob, this was the movie you picked.
Yes, I know. I put you guys through hell for cats, but
Can we start calling you Margot Robbie? Oh. Just kidding. I love her. That wasn't a diss. I am excited to see that film, though. Support your female directors, guys.
No, but I am seriously super excited.
It looks so good.
It really looks
so good. So we'll have that on our 51st episode. And then we'll also wrap up the season with one more edition of Are You Still Watching? We'll be going over Picard. It's in a weird place right now. It had a great premiere, and the second episode was so-so. So big number 3 will have big implications for Are You Still Watching? Yes. So. And then finally, to wrap up our 51st episode, we'll be staying up real late Sunday night to bring you a full wrap-up. I think you're going to stick around for that as well because you're coming to our little shindig.
I'll be there with my tuxedo on.
Yeah, wear a tuxedo. Why not? We're going to do a full wrap-up of the Oscars winners and losers and snubs and all that fun stuff. Matt's finally going to sit through the Oscars. I'm making him do it.
He's like reluctantly, begrudgingly.
Yeah. So we'll have that. And then we'll be on a little break, I think a 4-week break. We'll have some stuff for our EIP VIPs in the middle of that break. And we'll come back on March 17th. And we'll be spending that break, I think, kind of figuring out how this Matt versus Matt Geeks with Kids competition is going to take place, how we're going to score it, how we're going to format
updated.
it. So I had this idea in my head, just to go briefly here, of doing we do 5 of the picks on our show, and then 5 of the picks on our show, and we have a panel of 3. So it's I have ideas. This is going to be fun.
You have ideas? All right.
He needs a month, guys. Give him that
I need a month. But yeah, we'll be back on March 17th with episode 52. But we'll have lots of other fun stuff on our blog and all that jazz. So
memes will keep flowing. Don't worry. I'm never out of
the
memes.
memes must flow.
Jesus Christ. Oh, that is very true.
A tray memes.
As always, you can support our show by giving us a quick 5-star review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. That is very important to us. That helps get our show out there to the world. It takes you 2 minutes. Say some nice things about us, or don't. That's fine too. We don't care.
Yeah.
We love you anyway.
Just don't bargain bin score us.
Yeah, that would.
This is a dollar store podcast.
I heard about this podcast at a yard sale. Yeah, no. And then obviously, if you want to go a step further, you can join us on Patreon by becoming a patron at patreon.com/permittedpod. And then, of course, speaking of our EIP VIPs, as always, we would like to thank Billy Peets, Heather Reppert, and Conkling. This guy sitting next to us right here, Rob Migliaccio, Nikki Veazey, and Matt Moore.
And the Tomes Foundation.
And the Tomes Foundation. This public broadcast brought to you by viewers like you.
I always loved that part of PBS. I was like, me? I was like 5.
No, that's why I always said I want to get somebody with a British accent to actually record everything is permitted is brought to you by the Tomes Foundation, something like that.
The Bonds Foundation.
The Bonds Foundation. And by listeners like you.
So let's get right into our show, as always, with some rants and raves. And Rob, you told me immediately, I think you had a little bit of a rant.
No, rave.
Rave? Sorry.
Yes.
Hey, don't kill the messenger. Oh. Go ahead, rave away, sir.
So after, I believe, 8 long years, Arrow finally ended. I loved it. I don't know if you guys watched it.
I did.
You did. It was a really good finale. It was okay. But I know it was okay. Julian's giving me the side.
The look there made him drop it down a peg.
Let's not call it amazing.
Okay, but it was a good wrap up to a nice long. Obviously, we know we had some ups, some downs. It had some bad seasons.
Some islands, some cities.
Some islands,
Yeah. See, that's the thing with me. Arrow has a very, interesting place within the Arrowverse, even though it's the original show, because it did have so many ups and downs. Like season 2, by far, best season of the show.
Absolutely.
I know some people didn't like it as much. I was a big fan of the Ra's al Ghul season as well. Then there was just some stuff that was utter crap.
Oh, got you.
And then, my biggest issue with this finale was that, the Onion Ninjas did get me twice. They got me. I cried a little bit, but there were just some parts of it, it felt rushed.
Yes, I feel like they did leave a lot out on the floor.
It just felt a little empty. I'm excited for Green Arrow and the Canaries. I think that's going to be fun. Seeing them in 2040. I'm stoked for that. It just some things I feel like they should have just kept it at. Did you finally finish Crisis?
Yes. Oh yeah.
So they should have just kept it at Crisis with Oliver, dying. So I don't know. That's just me.
I agree. I feel like they could have I was expecting a little bit more. Because when we saw Black Canary and the
I
guess where are they birds of prey? Yeah, I guess they were.
They kind of technically are the birds of prey, right? I don't know if they're going to call them that, but it's kind of the same thing.
And then they did that episode, and then they did the finale.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Okay, you could have kept going just a little bit longer, stretch it out just a little bit, but he died. Okay, well we're still going to keep going through it. It's like, oh yeah, he died. Well.
I like how this rave is slowly turning into a rant.
It was major spoilers.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. A lot of people know by now.
Yeah.
Oh, did I totally spoil stuff for you?
No, I already knew he died, but I just meant on the internet. You know how your main thing recently, it's
Yes.
stop spoiling things before people see it. But
I
you guys
didn't know.
just
Well,
did.
it's been a week.
Green Arrow died.
By the time you
End of
listen to
story.
it,
everybody knows.
Yeah.
Oliver, no, he just went back to the island. He never really left, did he?
Leanne, you, the bane of Arrow's existence.
And some of the stuff that you did say, we don't know. It's speculation.
Fair enough.
But
It's all good.
You don't know. So.
But it was as good as an ending as the show could have hoped for.
Yes, absolutely.
It's what it deserved. Just not the one we need right now.
There you go. Who wants to go next?
Um.
Oh, I know. Brittany's got a rant.
I have a rant. I'm not going to make it very long.
I'm gonna get angry.
But yeah, Julian's going to fight someone.
Oh, yeah,
I'm legitimately
I'm
gonna
kick
I'm just
shit
going to
out of
say,
Axes.
I don't know why this happened. I know why it happens. I'm not even going to say I don't know why. But if you're a guy going into a comic book store, just because a female employee works there, there's a difference between asking questions and generally needing help and then asking questions just to be a patronizing asshole. This guy came in who apparently used to work at Wade's 10 years ago or something. He's some uppity politician now or something. I have no clue.
He's a politician?
I don't know.
Even
Local
fucking worse.
local government. I don't know. Something stupid. Anyway, he would just like, I was trying to be polite like I always am. And he was just like, oh, I remember when this wall wasn't even here. Like, I knocked down this wall and, like, did this. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I get that. Like, you don't have to tell me. But he was asking, you know, I mentioned that Kevin, someone who also used to work at Wade's and still does work from time to time, was here. So I was like, oh, he's in the basement if you want to go down and see him. And then I mentioned, because he hasn't been there in 10 years, I was like, oh, it's newly renovated over here, so maybe, like, you should take the other door down. And he was like, I know where the door is, and whatever. And I was just like, okay, fine, whatever, I want help. 20 minutes pass. He ends up coming back up. He was just killing time so he could go to a Pokemon gym raid. So, like, he literally showed up here 10 years later just to spend time.
Ma the meatloaf.
Pretty much. But then when he came back
Fucking nerd. We're all nerds at this table.
I know.
Like,
but this isn't even, like,
kind.
the annoying part. Like, when he came back up, then he was just asking me a lot of questions about, like, comic books, like, and he wasn't even buying anything. So, like, at first, you know, I'm trying to be a polite employee. It also was just me and him. Everybody else was playing Magic downstairs. And he was like, oh, what's your favorite superhero? And, it, like, first of all, I'm an adult, so, like, it's hard to determine what your actual favorite superhero is. Like, you're not 5 anymore. So I was just like, I guess if I had to choose, it would be Captain Marvel. And then he was like, oh, well, are you a recent fan or, like, an original fan? I was like, well, considering I wasn't born when the original one was made, I was like, I've been a long-time fan. And then he didn't even know anything about Captain Marvel. And then I mentioned, like, the DeConnick run because he was talking about how I liked her portrayed in the movie and if I liked Brie Larson or whatever. And I was like, yeah, she did a good job of portraying this aspect of the character. And then he was like, oh, okay, I liked it, but I just didn't know if, like, you know, whatever. So then it became, like, he was asking me questions about, like, oh, well, what comics do you recommend about this, what this. And he just kept, like, pointing to things, and I was helping him out, but, like, I had stuff I had to do. And he was wasting my time. And then eventually, he only finally left after I slipped one time. And that's because he was pointing the DC section because he asked about the new comics, went down below to the old ones. And then he was like, oh, this section looks short. I'm like, well, a lot of people picked up the comics from last week, so DC only goes until, like, there. And I happened to point to Namor, and I said it, like, ends with Namor. But I meant to say it, like, ends and then starts, like, Namor's Marvel. Yeah. But he was just like, well, Namor's not DC. So, like, and, like, literally I looked at him, and I was like, yeah, I messed up. Like, I slipped. And I happened to mention, like, you don't even...
Not to mention...
He said he didn't even like reading comics, and he's not even that into them. So I'm like, why are you in here patronizing me?
Not to mention that it's actually really easy to mix up Namor and, like, Aquaman.
Exactly.
Because they're literally, like, occupying the same...
But he literally said, what, you've been working here, like, a year and you don't even know your comics straight? And I was just like...
God.
I literally looked at... And then he was like, oh, I should go now. Like, it's time. And then left. But he literally was a jerk to me until the moment that I was able to do something where he felt slightly superior. Then he left. And I was just like... Dude, do you get off on this? Do you need this? Is your life that sad that you need to come in? Like, if Wade was there, he would have lost his crap. And, like, I was at the point where I was going to do whatever.
Had I been there, shit would have gone down. I have you're in the 3 friends who work or have worked, 3 friends who are women who have worked at comic book shops, and every single one of them has the exact same story.
There's always a gatekeeping
nerd. If this person is you and you just happen to listen to my podcast, go fuck yourself. Seriously. People don't deserve this, whether you're a man, a woman, it doesn't matter. People don't deserve to be patronized.
Dude, Wade messes up all the time, and he's been in the industry for like 30 years. If he's not paying attention or slips...
This bullshit that keeps going on, you know, where basement nerds have to have superiority over whether it's a woman or someone who just maybe doesn't have the same knowledge, like, knock it off.
Yeah.
Establish nerd dominance.
There's just the fact that he had to keep bringing up, like, 10 years ago. I'm like, if you're jealous that you don't work here anymore, like
get a
why
job.
did you leave, first of all? But, like...
go back to the basement. Like, we don't want to see you. And if I see you and you're doing that to Brittany, I'm going to bring the hammer down.
Yeah. It's just like, as a woman, you know the exact moment when questions stop being actual questions and when they start being patronizing. Like, you know immediately.
So
I was just like,
last night. Like,
yeah, he did. He was like, I will kill a bitch. And I was like, it's okay. Oh, my rave, though, was just going to be, yay for Kristen Press and Tobin Heath killing it in the game last night. Both their goals were insane. Tobin Heath didn't even look at the goalie. Oh, my God. Losing my mind. Anyway, I love that my girls are back.
EIP soccer edition. We're going in March.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ashlyn and Allie were in the game together, and they were like, her wife is playing with her. And I was like, ooh. That's it. I kept it short.
So, I first of all, I was going to rave about Mazhu Axes, but we definitely are pretty much doing the entire episode, so I'll let that fall by the wayside. Brittany tagged me in it a few days
ago.
You're
going to axe it?
Yes, I'm axing it from my agenda.
Cutting it from the...
But Brittany tagged me in it a few days ago.
Shut up, Wesley.
Wow. Was that for me? Or
I was doing it. I just shut off to Wesley myself for my axe comment.
Oh, nice.
But Brittany tagged me in this a few days ago. I didn't even know this, but, like, obviously I'm very excited they're releasing, like, a complete Avatar: The Last Airbender steelbook set. Brittany tagged me in it. I guess it's 3 different steelbooks that are all in this package, and it looks freaking amazing.
So what you're telling me is you get another steelbook.
Well, yeah, but like
I love Matt's love for steelbooks.
Yeah, like the thing is though is that like one of the reasons. Well, yes, it is a steelbook, and I am getting that. Also, like Avatar: The Last Airbender is on my short list for best shows ever made. Period. And also, it comes with a digital copy, so I don't have to buy it digitally ever. I can watch it. I don't have to like rip the Blu-rays or anything like I did when I first watched it. But yeah, I am so pumped. It comes out in like 2 to 3 weeks, I think it comes out. And actually, this Tuesday when I pick up Dr. Sleep, I'm actually gonna pre-order it just so like I have no worries about it being available, which I never pre-order anything that early. But this I will.
It's beautiful.
This is in no way a plug for another podcast. It's just purely out of love, but I have to rave about
Like, okay, Jan.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I have to rave about the Star Trek Discovery Pod, who we had Mariah on
Oh, I
last
actually
year.
love them, so this is okay.
So, like, okay, so I joined their Patreon program because immediately when they started following us on Instagram, I went and listened to an episode and just fell in love. Their Patreon perks are awesome. So I do $2 an episode, and because of that, I get to join their Slack chat. So we're just like nerding out about like all these different Picard theories, and I'm just like, I get to be a freaking Trekkie again. And it's like I'm like, you know, this decade has been so occupied with Star Wars. You know, like Star Trek's just kind of fallen by the wayside, especially you don't really know what's going on with the JJ verse anymore. So like getting Picard and the Discovery season 3 later on, it's like I'm really getting to like Trek out again, and it makes me really happy. And I'm really happy that they have such a great quality show, and not only a great quality show, but a great Patreon program, because like I feel like I'm getting my money's worth. That is in no way a plug. I know it obviously sounds like one. I just love their show. I don't get a lot of time to listen to podcasts because we do our own, but it's one of those shows like Geeks with Kids that I make time to listen to.
Yeah, I like both of those. Those are the only other podcasts I listen to. And I'm just like, oh, they're good.
Star Trek Discovery Pod is just awesome. So any other rants and raves? We actually got like 3 minutes if we want to.
No.
Is there anything else? No? All right.
I kept mine short.
We're gonna. I'm sure we're gonna make up for that with other things.
Well,
so.
yeah, definitely.
Just sit here and twiddle our thumbs for 3 minutes, Shelley. Everybody
want to listen to 3 minutes of dead air?
Who can throw the axe the furthest from this location?
That's
Actually,
behind the
I
yellow
can do
line.
it.
That's illegal.
Shut up, Wesley.
All right, guys. With that,
Because he's a stickler for the rules, too. Why won't you leave me on the bridge, Captain?
I always like watching Julian.
Get off my bridge.
I always like Julian fishing around for sound bites whenever
it's so
Brittany
much
says
fun.
something.
Yeah.
So much fun.
My favorite is when he can't find the one. You see him do that thing
And
with
then
his
I
finger.
just quit. I just quit. I'm like, oh, fuck it. All right, guys. With that, it is time for
The permitted minute.
The permitted minute. It's so echoey in here. You have to do it.
the permitted minute. The permitted minute. And we are going to go here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mr. Gatus, start the clock.
In news that seemed to excite everyone, PlayStation Plus free games from the month of February include BioShock The Collection and The Sims 4. If you're an Xbox Games Gold subscriber, the original Star Wars Battlefront is free to play.
Filming on Matt Reeves' The Batman officially commenced filming this week.
The upcoming Falcon and the Winter Soldier series has pushed its release up to August if reports are to be believed.
In a movie that no one wants to see, Mel Gibson and Danny Glover are apparently back on board for Lethal Weapon 5, Lethal Titanium Hips.
The Nintendo Switch has crossed the 50 million units sold threshold.
The upcoming animated Witcher film, Nightmare of the Wolf, will be a Vesemir origin story.
We have 20 seconds
Yeah, I was
left.
gonna say,
That's
we
like
killed
our
that.
best ever. There wasn't a lot of like permitted minute worthy news items this week. Like this was kind of the.
Well, the week before was like, what, 72 things?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
This was the best of the best. So this actually would have possibly been a good one for you to do the gauntlet, but you wanted to wait for your actual episode next week.
What? I wasn't
And now
gonna-
you're probably regretting that decision.
No, seriously, I wasn't going to bring it up. But last night when I got the email, I decided to practice, and I'm hitting like 38 seconds or
All
something
right.
like that. Beating
What's
Billy
our
Pete's.
record? I can't what's our record? I can't remember what our record is for.
Because it was
For the
Nikki
gauntlet
that
right
broke
now,
out.
I believe it's Billy Pete's at 48 seconds has the record at the
48
moment.
or 42.
It's either, it might be, I think Nikki's 48 and he might be
think it was
42.
42.
I
to
like
look at the
Billy
record
because
again.
his last name almost sounds like pizza, and then it's also Pete's, which is what I call my cat's paws, because they're like paw feet, Pete's.
In things that we didn't need to know about
I'm just
breeding.
saying. Like every time I hear his name, I'm just like, Pete's.
Oh my God.
You're welcome.
All right, and as we said early in the show, we are here recording at Mazhu Axes, and we've been hosted by both Toby and Binu here. Thank you guys so much for having us. We had a blast throwing some axes. This place is amazing. Thank you for coming on and having us.
Thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. I saw you guys being very competitive. I was going to ask you if you wanted to join the league.
I don't think I'm that good. I definitely.
I'm down. I would love to. We were talking.
I'll do it with Julian.
Yeah, we were talking about, as we were throwing, like coming and doing a night here soon too.
Yeah, absolutely. This place is great. I love it.
We should have our listeners come.
Really awesome.
Do a big party.
You guys should really come check it out on Thursday nights when we have league, and you see how this sport is really played. The competitiveness is the nicest, kindest version of competitiveness that we've ever seen in our lives. So one thing that we really tell people is me and Binu, we grew up playing basketball. And when one of us beat the other, we would hate each other for the rest of the day.
I get it.
Over here, when you win or lose, you give the guy a hug, and you shake his hand, you tap axes, and there's no like bad blood, no nothing, which was shocking to us when we first started playing this sport.
No, but if you go to the corner, you'll see them cursing everybody out.
I believe that.
Right off the gate, this place is huge. I forget whether it was Matt or Brittany who said, or maybe it was Heather. Heather came and played with us too. You guys must go through a lot of wood.
Yeah, I mean, the surprising thing is the wood is way better when it's beat up. So that's why we didn't change those boards on purpose, because the more beat up the board is, the easier the axe is going to stick. So a lot of players hate when it's a new board because it's not broken in, and then it drops and stuff.
Then they blame it on the board.
Yeah.
So wait, when you guys put up a new board, do you just throw a bunch of axes at it just to kind of break it in, or
do you punch it?
So actually in league, they ban that, so you're not allowed to break in the board anymore.
Oh wow, okay.
But what we try to do is something that it's kind of a growing pain right now is we try to change those boards with 30 minutes left of practice. So the board gets beaten up by the time league starts.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
Nice.
it's kind of like tricks of the trade. And that's also when you see Migsy spray the boards. It helps wet it, soak it, so the axe gets in a little bit better.
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought it was like a splintering thing or something, but yeah, that makes more sense.
Axe throwing has become pretty popular, and now it's a part of, you see it everywhere. People are trying it out. It's like part of our pop culture now. On like a Thursday night, people are like, oh, let's go axe throwing. Let's do this. And, bury the hatchet or vice versa.
Yeah.
What made it a thing? Like, was it something on TV? Was it a movie? Did people just come from word of mouth?
So I'll take that. 4 years ago, we went up to Montreal for a boys' weekend away from our wives and kids.
As you do.
and your exes? That was a bad one. Exes.
Wow, Brittany.
I earned it. That's okay.
So when we went up there, one of our friends was tired of the normal things that we do. So he was like, hey, can we go axe throwing? And Toby and I looked at each other. We're like, what? We're not doing that. So he convinced us, and then we went out there. We saw this place. We're like, man, this is dangerous. What are we doing here?
But that's the fun. That's the thrill.
Yeah, exactly.
And then next thing you know, they gave us an axe. As competitive as we are, first time the axe stuck, we were sold. So at that time, I told Toby, this is about 4 years ago, time we talked about it, Toby and I said, hey, it'd be nice to start something this in the Northeast where we grew up, where there's nothing really to do. And then 4 years down the line, we were looking at places and everything fell into place for us, and here we are. One of the biggest axe throwing venues in North America.
Nice.
Wow,
that's
really?
awesome.
32 targets.
Wow.
That's amazing. Well done.
Where did the name Mazhu come from, out of curiosity? I was trying to...
So that's all Binu. Initially, when we started working on this, we met at Panera Bread.
Yeah, that's nice.
Where all first acts begin.
Yeah. And we were trying to make something out of our kids' names, the initials. And nothing was working. And also, Ben was still trying to have one more kid. So that we didn't want to leave that person out. So he brought it up. He's like, it's not a very common word in our language. We're from South India. The language is Malayalam.
Okay.
But it means axe.
Oh, cool.
in
Oh,
our
nice.
language.
That's
so
cool.
he's like, why don't we use this word? And I was like, okay, sounds great. Like,
Yeah,
it's cool,
definitely.
you know,
Sounds
so-
cool.
Yeah,
and I love your
absolutely.
artwork too. It's like better. Like most other axe throwing places, it's just like an axe or a hatchet, and then this is actually like cool.
So there is actually a meaning behind that. That guy right there, he's some sort of warrior for some Hindu Indian god, and where our parents are from, it's a place called Kerala, and his main weapon was an axe. So he did all this work for God and didn't have a place to stay or live. So he asked his God, "Hey, I did all this work for you. Give me a land to live." So his God told him, "Take your axe, throw it into the ocean. Whatever the land splits, that'll be the land. That'll be your land." And that's where our parents are from. It's called.
That's
awesome.
really
That's
cool.
kind of like what we do
Goosebumps.
here.
Yeah, that's
we had
really
literally
cool. I
no
love it.
idea that's the story until after we opened up. One of my cousins comes up to me and says, like, "You know who that guy is, right?" I was like, "Oh, I just Googled warrior with an axe."
Yeah, right? But I mean, if you think about it, it looks like a ripple on there. So you could just be like, oh, look at this culture. You're throwing an axe and making a ripple on
Yeah,
the wall.
exactly.
Like, it's awesome. I mean, you do feel like a god when you do win, so I get it. I really do.
I do want to get Rob in here to talk, about the competitive game here a little bit. But is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we let you guys go and have Rob come in?
No, I mean, that's it. I really appreciate you guys coming out. I mean, I do follow you guys on social media. Most of our information will be on our social media, so follow us there.
And we'll definitely post it.
Yeah, we'll have all the
definitely.
links to
Yeah,
everything on our
absolutely.
Facebook
Yeah, I
and
mean, that's
Instagram.
basically our social media is updated more than our website. You know, just with hours, days that we're
Yeah.
off and stuff like that. So I mean, that's the best thing. But yeah,
Nice.
9806 Bustleton Avenue, Philadelphia. We're on Bustleton Avenue between Red Line and Grant, and I think you guys are awesome. So I appreciate it.
That means a
Yeah,
lot.
you,
Thank
you guys are fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you
And,
so much for having us.
And I promise to start following you guys.
That's fair.
You also have amazing beards. So I just want to throw that out there. The audience
As you can
can't
see,
it.
I'm growing mine slowly but surely, but I'll be there one day.
All this credit goes to my dad.
Nice.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank you guys
much.
so much.
So Rob's joining us now, and also joining us is
Ashley.
Ashley, who is a competitive player here at Mazhu Axes, and I believe Toby just said you are going to be in a regional, or
Well, it's the main tournament of the year up in Canada for IATC, and we got 2 spots. So I took the top spot for Mazhu,
Damn.
and then we have our other competitor, Matt, who will be representing us as well.
well, I'm going to give you a giant round of applause for that. So
Yes.
that's awesome. Congratulations. That's really, really cool.
We'll have our listeners hype you up, chant from afar.
For sure.
Yeah, actually, like I'm not going off question real quick here.
Yeah,
but-
that's fine.
No, but like just watching you guys, like you guys were crushing the what's the little green circle? I keep
Clutch.
The clutch. Yes, thank you. Like you guys were just like killing that thing every single throw almost, and that was like holy crap. I was really impressed with everybody.
That's
like,
a lot of practice.
yeah, I have no doubt. I have no
A
doubt.
fly will land on a wall, and she's just like, done.
So, Rob, you throw competitively. What is the competitive scene like?
So honestly, the competitive scene here in the Philadelphia and Jersey area is kind of really just a hotbed of the axe throwing community. There's a lot of different axe throwing arenas here, and some of the top really in the country and even the world. There's some of the best throwers are right out of here in Philly, Ashley being one of them. She really does kick axe. I was waiting for you, bro.
I was gonna make that joke. Oh man.
No, but seriously, we have tons of our friends who are literally the best in the world. Like you said, like Toby and Ben, you said earlier, it is a competitive, community, but we help out a lot with each other.
Yeah.
I want to say something real quick, and we're here at Mazhu, and I want to make the focus about this location, but it seems like there are a lot of axe places in Philadelphia. Like, is that for a reason because there's so many places? Like, did axe throwing did it start here when it became kind of part of the scene, or did it just become popular here quicker than other places?
Well, it actually started up in Canada. That's where everything started. I think that with our scene in our city, it kind of just bursted. I think once one venue had a lot of good feedback and they had a lot of people coming, everyone else saw them and was like, oh, this is a good area. Even with Jersey, I know it's Jersey and Philly are really close together, so they're like, all right, well, they have it in Jersey. We're right across the bridge. Let's bring that over here. So there's actually a lot of venues over in Jersey as well. Like you said, we really do have some of the best throwers, like not even our region, not even our country, in the world, throwing out of the Philly, Jersey area. So I think that brings a lot of people coming in too because they'll see it. whether it's be on TV or social media, they see that these people live in this area, and they're like, okay, well, maybe let's go check it out. Like, these guys are doing really well.
That's awesome. You know, the other thing is, Rob, you know, I've seen you posting over and over and over about this place. You know, you did your Ben Solo challenge,
That was awesome.
throwing an axe, which was legit. I kind of want to ask you both. You know, Rob, we'll start with you. How did you find Mazhu Axes? How did you find out axe throwing? How did you know this is something that you wanted to do?
So, Ash is kind of a part of all this. One of our best friends, Mike Kump, who is seriously one of the best in the world, decided to have a birthday party courtesy of his girlfriend Lisa. We went down to Urban Axes down in the city and just messed around there. And a year later, we're seeing Mike on TV.
Oh wow!
Throwing competitively, and it picked up from there. So
yeah, it wasn't even a year later. I think he after we went for his birthday, he literally started to he joined a league and he got really good really fast. Then he told us we kind of saw him doing it and we were like, all right, well, maybe we will give it a shot. He knew Toby and Ben, and they were trying to open up this place, Mazhu Axes, and they were trying to start a league, so they needed more people. So he's like, why don't you guys just give it a shot, like just go and try it. I actually wasn't even going to join. Joe, my husband, wanted to join. I kind of just came here with him. They had like an open house to kind of show what was happening, kind of teach everyone, and they convinced me to join, which I'm kind of glad I did now, but I really wasn't going to join. I really didn't want to do it. So we kind of got into it because they needed more people, and we were like, all right, let's give it a shot. And then a year later, here we are, and this is our about like 6th league that we're in, and we're throwing with some of the best competitors in the city.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's awesome. I was just wondering, what do you each love the most about axe throwing? Because I know, like, obviously there's competitions, there's the camaraderie, but like, what do you personally enjoy the most?
I really enjoy the community. So we don't just do axe throwing. Like, we go out, we have events. They just had like an award show they put together not that long ago. When we go up to Canada, there's an axe prom. There's just the community itself.
I want to go to that so bad.
Do you bring the axe to prom, or
No.
do you just bring? Okay, I was just like,
Everyone should have an axe like in the back of their suit or
I want
dress.
like a Louis Vuitton axe.
But just the community, literally everyone's there for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you make really good friendships. And I don't think that I've played sports in the past. I've never really found like a community or like just friends and like to turn into a family like we do with Axe community.
You can't ask for anything better.
Brittany,
Brittany,
God.
Sorry, Rob. You can go.
You deserve that.
I did.
ah, screw it, we're doing a live one. Shut up, Brittany.
Yes. I love it.
So, Ashley really just hit it on the head there. It's a lot of just family and friends and community. I mean, we have, sons and fathers throwing, daughters and mothers all throwing. I mean, in the past year, in less than a year, I've made so many freaking friends. It's crazy, and it really is a tight knit community. Hell, you win twice a season. We do potluck for league nights,
Nice.
so it's just crazy. And Ash mentioned we did an axe throwing award show a couple of weeks ago. The Clutchies, big shout out to
Clutchies, I love
the Philly space. It literally started as a joke, and then it started to turn into a small event in a local bar, and then we took over the BB&T Pavilion over in Camden.
Wow.
And had a full-on night out and award show, and it was a blast. So, yeah, it's really, as competitive as it is really a nice, tight-knit community.
This is because you did bring up, when you first started throwing another location, like axe throwing is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I just have never pulled the trigger. I was trying to think of a pun, and it just wasn't coming to me.
You just never threw the axe?
Yeah, it doesn't really work. But like I said, there seems to be a lot of locations around this area. You guys both spend a lot of time here. What makes Mazhu Axes special?
It's honestly, it feels like it's a tight-knit community at Mazhu. We started out with doing, 2 leagues, a Sunday brunch league and a Thursday league, and then we ended up, now we're doing a pro league and an intermediate league, both on Thursday nights, where, like we said, literally some of the best in the Philadelphia, not just Philadelphia area, but the world, are throwing alongside some of just our new beginners, and we're just teaching each other. So, it's just really it's tight-knit.
I've thrown at other venues other than Mazhu, but I honestly think that Mazhu has like its own thing. You come here, you just feel so comfortable. The owners are there to help you, are present, are welcoming, whereas you go other places, you really don't see the owners. They're not really there. They have other people that are representing them, but coming here, like, the environment that you are is just so much more welcoming, and you just feel so like, oh, I'm going to a friend's house. Like, compared to, I've been to other venues, which they're nice. I'm not talking bad about them, but I just think the environment and the community and Toby and Ben being who they are and just really wanting to be present and really wanting to promote their business and just want everyone to come in and feel welcome, I think that makes all the difference.
I agree with that completely, because I've been to one other axe throwing place, and immediately the way you guys are even set up here is much more open and accessible. And the fact that you were all ready to talk to us, not just, like, oh, this is the person who's on the shift right now.
It's even more welcoming. Like, some places you walk in are at the front desk is at the front, and then you'll go throw axes in the back, where when you come in, literally the front desk is in the middle.
Exactly.
So it's accessible to everyone, no matter which lane you're throwing in. It's just the floor plan is so open. I think it's more welcoming to where, like, or maybe we're stuck in a corner and we're throwing on just 2 lanes.
And then you don't feel like you can go around and talk to everybody. So, yeah, I agree. It's very open and nice.
Yeah, and for you guys, Toby gave you a crash course real quick before you came in, but Toby and Binyu are here. They're showing everybody that basically comes in that door, how to throw with, of course we have some staff here as well, but most of the time it's Toby and Binyu showing every single customer that comes in through that door how to throw axes.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that kind of personal experience.
Oh no, we're gonna end up buying T-shirts.
I personally don't like going somewhere where the owners aren't present and it's kind of just business.
Yeah.
I prefer a place where I go and the owners really care about their business and caring about the customer's experience and are present there and want you to enjoy where you're at. Whereas like other places you just go, they're just worried, all right, let's make a profit.
Yeah, support your local axe throwing shop. It's like local comic book store, like. And support your local axe business.
I had a blast. That crash course taught me everything I needed to know, and I almost dominated, which leads us to our final question. Who is the best axe thrower out of, well, there's 5 of us. Heather went somewhere, but Rob's here, Brittany's here, Matt's here. Matt and I were in the finals. That doesn't mean that we're each the best. Who, Rob, we'll go in a circle and we'll let you say who we think it
Honestly,
it's not me. I had a horrible day.
Brittany, whoa, hold on a second.
Okay.
Brittany, you really rocked out the big axe. We brought out a
You
giant
did.
big axe, fireman's axe that we use for our tiebreakers. And I gave it over to Brittany and Matt. They threw it as tiebreakers, and they picked it up right away. So I applaud you guys for that.
Dad axe.
Freaking amazing.
The big Jim is like.
But I have to say, Julian, you seriously, I know you didn't win
That's
the
okay.
tournament.
The belt looked good on Matt.
You came out of the gate and you're hitting the target. And a lot of people will just come in and they're just happy just to hit, the board and not even the target area. We're hitting the target and actually hitting bullseyes as well. Even though I gave you a couple. No,
you did.
You earned
Wait a minute.
You earned it. We measured it. So, but yeah, no, seriously.
That's what she said.
Y'all threw really, really great. For your first times coming in, signs Brittany, of course.
I will say, Matt gave me a run for my money.
He did, but you were
That,
gonna.
no,
Yeah.
that was
the
an
neck and
epic
neck,
match
that was
between
actually,
the two.
That
was
felt like
really
a
fun.
final.
Like,
We were
you-
sudden death like 5 times in a row. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Brittany, who do you give it to today?
I literally said before you guys went up, I was like, you're both doing a really good job. I can't choose between you. I will say Matt ultimately won the day, so technically he was the best out of all of us. I will say you picked up one-handed axe throwing the quickest, and you're one of the more consistent players.
That's fair.
I can't say anything for myself because I basically
Like Rob
I was hit
said,
or miss
though,
too
you
much.
killed it with that fireman's
I just
axe.
need to get my flow back again. I got in my head too much. So Heather also did really well for
She
her
did.
first
She
time.
killed it.
I just want to throw it out there. I don't know where she is.
She's behind you.
She's behind you now.
When Heather got like bullseyes, I was over the moon. So
Yeah, honestly, overall consistency, probably Julian, even though I did win the final
did.
tournament. I did win because I will
have
say I
pictures.
kind of
It's
came
great.
up clutch when it mattered most in our match. That's That's where. So I'm not going to say I'm better at this point. Like, we'd have to play a few more games in order to kind
Julian
of determine
got
that.
performance anxiety.
At the end, I was getting a little.
My sudden death with Brittany is what,
That was
like,
awesome.
that's what got
Yeah, that
me. Like,
triggered
all right,
him.
I
He was
gotta,
like, I'm a champion now. But
Listen.
1917, that's what it came down to.
It did.
An argument we had in the car on the way here.
And now, apparently, 1917 is officially a 2020 movie because Matt won. I can't pick myself because that would be conceited and all those awful things.
You're allowed
I wouldn't
to.
do it anyway. Matt, you did win. The belt looked great on you. You bettered me. You killed it. You also, there was a difference because Matt was throwing mostly two-handed and I was throwing
Yeah, and then he
only
switched
one-handed.
at the end.
So it was really interesting at
Kill
the end
switch
there.
flipped.
I had a blast. It was so much
No,
fun.
this was definitely.
So
great.
Matt, yeah,
I love it.
you won the day. He is our Mazhu Axes champion for the day.
Yay. I will say I'm the only one who still did two-hand the whole time.
You did? Okay, fair
and
enough.
that was probably where I failed.
I have to thank everyone here at Mazhu Axes, Toby, Benu. Thank you so much for having us. We will definitely be back here. If you want to go do something that's not like out at a bar or, whatever you do on your Friday or Saturday nights, don't do that. Like, don't sit at home and watch a movie. Come throw some axes. You'll get out some anger. It's good therapy. You'll have some fun. It's a blast. So
You can yell at your friends.
And it is BYOB.
and it's
Yeah,
BYOB.
see? So
Yeah, buddy.
bring the bar here.
Yeah, that's right. So thank you guys so much for having us. We will definitely be back. You should come out too. When we come back, I'm going to be joined by my father, Royal Brown. I've been trying to get on the show for a very long time, and a little bit of a surprise. I didn't know who was going to be joining us. Also, my brother, Cary Brown. It's going to be a family reunion. So we're going to be reviewing The Gentleman. That's going to be next when we come back. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. We'll go back to Mazhu Axes in a little bit here, but it's our 50th episode, like we've been saying throughout the show, and I've been wanting to put this together for a really long time. I finally gotten the chance, joined by my father, the esteemed Professor Mr. Royal Brown. And before we get to him, also, this was a bit of a surprise, and I'm very excited. My brother, Cary Brown, also joining us. So awesome.
Glad to be here.
Dad, there's obviously a huge reason that I've been wanting to have you on for so long. You're kind of the inspiration behind this whole podcast and my love for film and television and everything that surrounds it. So tell us a little bit about your background yourself before we get into our review here.
Well, bottom line is I've always loved the movies. I mean, no question about that. But then in, I think, 1968, I proposed writing about film music to High Fidelity. And they said yes. And I started writing regular reviews of film music. And then in 1972, I think, a fellow professor came to me and said, would I please edit a book on the French film director Jean-Luc Godard, which I did. The book is called Focus on Godard. And then I kept writing film music reviews and an occasional classical music review, occasional jazz review. And then I started writing for Fanfare, and I had a regular column for Fanfare called Film Musings. Along the way, I wrote a completely original book because the Godard book was edited articles. I wrote a completely original book called Overtones and Undertones.
That's right.
Yeah, reading film music, and I've gotten a lot of very positive feedback from that, including from France, and they say there's nothing good in French about film music. So, and then I put together a bunch of my columns from Fanfare and came out with a third book called Film Musings, after the name of the column. I finished writing a fourth book, which is 450 flaming single-space pages, and trying to publish, and it doesn't. It's a psychoanalytic approach to film.
Very good. And what are you doing right now?
Oh, I regularly teach a course on French cinema, and then courses on French grammar, French literature, and what have you.
And you're the head of film studies at Queen's College, yes?
No, that was ages ago.
Okay.
I was the head of the film studies program at Queen's College, but
Which is quite something, I would say. But, or not, depending on who you talk to, I guess.
yeah.
Well, we are here to get your expertise on film, and Cary, you're going to give us your review too. We're here to review Guy Ritchie's latest film, The Gentleman, and mixed reviews. I think we all, at least Cary and I, enjoyed it. Dad, not so much. But before we get into kind of what we all thought about it, This is kind of a typical Guy Ritchie film, but on top of that, he's also got a wide variety of different kind of films under his belt. I would say arguably his two most popular. I was actually surprised to hear that both of you hadn't seen this. Was Snatch, which had Vinnie Jones, Brad Pitt, other big names from England, and then also Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I think two of his more popular films.
That I think I saw. I don't remember. It was a while back, but
yeah. And then most recently, this was the one that's kind of came out of left field. He did the live action Aladdin film, which I don't think any of us saw. Don't really have a desire to see.
No desire.
No, you took me to see the original animated Aladdin when I was a wee lad, and that was fun. And then, I think these are films that we've all seen, and I think we all enjoy. He's responsible for the two Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes films.
I saw the first one. We walked out on the second one.
I believe you liked the first one, though.
I liked the first one, and we walked out on the second one.
Where do we think that The Gentleman kind of lies in his foray of films?
I mean, I don't know his films that well. I mean, I can pretty much comment on this one, but
same here. I don't know his body of work.
I definitely thought the Sherlock Holmes film was relevant, but then the second one was horrible.
And you haven't seen any of the Sherlock Holmes?
I believe I've seen Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrel, but I don't remember anything about it if I have seen it.
Well, then let's just talk about The Gentleman, because that seems to be the best thing to do. We all saw that together. And Dad, you're kind of the special guest here. We'll start with you. Your initial thoughts on Guy Ritchie's latest.
Well, I thought it started off pretty badly. I also thought it started out as kind of an artsy-fartsy film where you don't really know whether what you're watching is a film script in the process of being made or whether it's a real action film. And as the film goes along, he kind of pulls out of his artsy-fartsy thing and makes it into pretty much of an action film. But I also thought that there's way too much time spent at the beginning with you're not really knowing who was who, what was what, and to be honest with you, you're not giving a damn.
The exposition for the first, half an hour, 45 minutes was pretty snooze-worthy. For sure.
Yeah, well, my wife fell asleep during part of that, so and I was close to falling asleep, to be honest with you.
I won't lie, my eyes were getting a little heavy at the beginning of it. It did pick up, but Cary, before we get into the middle of the film, your initial thoughts.
I'm pretty much with you guys. I was having trouble buying the whole narrator switching back from narration to film to narration to film at the beginning. I kind of felt like, wow, am I really going to have to be, watching it in this format the whole entire time? It just felt like a little tiresome at first. That being said, it kind of starts to make more sense why they're doing it that way, because the reason why he's telling this story has a lot to do with, what ends up being the two characters' relationship. So it does justify itself. I think it, as you guys said, it started a little slow.
Something that I thought was really funny that you told me at the very end of the movie, the main I would almost call him a narrator of this film, was Hugh Grant's character, I think Fletcher. And you didn't know it was Hugh Grant.
I did not. I knew he was in the movie, but with the mustache and the lack of proper accent, I wasn't seeing it.
He really laid on like that deep Cockney, which you've never really heard Hugh Grant do in any of his previous films.
Oh, I think it wasn't really Cockney. It wasn't Cockney at all.
Well, it's not Northern England either.
No, it's not that. It's a bit lower class, but it's not.
Yeah, okay.
It's not Cockney.
Yeah, the one who had the Cockney accent was the McConaughey character's wife.
Yes, that's right.
And that wasn't Cockney either. That was lower class accent, but it wasn't Cockney.
Well, somebody referred to it as Cockney in the movie.
And somebody's wrong.
The reason that this film, at least in my opinion, started to get good is when it kind of became that Guy Ritchie film. You were going between all these different characters. You get to learn more about Mickey or Michael, this American weed dealer, basically, who's not just your street guy dealing weed. He's got a whole operation throughout the United Kingdom.
Kingpin,
exactly. You go and
he has these elaborate gardens.
Yeah,
underground.
I liked when it picked up and you were starting to get, you see Colin Farrell's character, his wife, who we all agreed I think was a pretty good character.
And absolutely stunning.
Absolutely stunning. Cary, when did, we'll start with you first. When did it start to kind of pick up for you?
I think when you started getting in, I think when they started involving some of these other people who are trying to take over the whole drug kingdom from him, and we're potentially going to buy it from him, it started to get intriguing, because then you can see that there were these people competing for it, and you can think of different combinations how it might get interesting. And I think the characterizations too, especially the characterization of I don't remember the guy with the hat who was with the round spectacles. I don't remember.
Oh, Colin Farrell's character. I think they just
not him. I'm talking about the guy who was talking about buying the empire.
Oh, I forget what they called it. What his name was.
Yeah, we should probably have a character list when we're
But
doing
I
this.
thought-
should. I'll pull it up while you guys are talking.
I thought he was a very weak character. I thought physically he was miscast. I thought his acting was incredibly bad.
Yeah, I think he
and
was
I
adequately
thought
creepy.
I also thought that the character was to a certain extent stereotypically gay.
Yeah, I got that vibe too, because they never actually said it, and he's married to a woman, but it's almost
Lots of gay
it's
men
almost
are.
obvious. Yeah, well, true.
I didn't read it as even gay. I just read it as like he just had this kind of sneering kind of way of talking, which I don't know. To me, the character was adequately creepy to keep me intrigued.
He was creepy because he had no character.
Oh.
oh, do I have a soundbite? I do. We'll give you one of these.
Mother of God.
I still can't pull up this guy's. Oh, yeah, there we go. Jeremy Strong was the actor, and he played Matthew. He was in the Sherlock. Oh, no, he wasn't in the Sherlock. He hasn't been in much of anything exciting. So that maybe says why his acting was not anything special. I thought it was a very flat performance. There wasn't
basically Mr. Unexciting.
They could have flipped. You tell me if you think I'm right here, Dad. They could have flipped the roles of having him kind of be the guy that you think is the sneak, but it turns out to be what they call him, Dry Eyes.
Eye.
You know, I thought that was a much more intriguing character than this Matthew guy.
At any rate, I think that's when it got exciting for me, was when they started involving all these other Underlord people, and it seems to me that even though I don't really know Ritchie's body of work very well, I kind of feel like that's where he's best, when he's just showing all these kind of interrelated kind of, things that all of a sudden become very confusing, and fast action and switchbacks and unpredictable plot lines.
And Earthworm would have been a more intriguing character.
Yeah.
Well, we're past him.
Dad, I know that you weren't a huge fan of the film, but is there anything specifically in it that you enjoyed more than, what you didn't? Was there a favorite scene?
I didn't dislike the film. I just didn't like it. I don't think it was a bad film. I just think it was a crushingly mediocre film. And a film without a whole... I thought it was just pointless. It's just all switching characters back and forth, and, like shuffling cards and dealing cards and dealing hands, and, let's see what comes up. Oh, we'll turn this card up. Okay, we'll play that card. And to me, the whole film felt that way. And to me, it ended up being an exercise in futility.
We were talking, I think, before the film over breakfast about Uncut Gems, and that's another kind of one of these, organized crime films that seemed pointless. I didn't think that this was as pointless as that.
Not much in the world is as pointless as Uncut Gems, which my wife and I walked out on in the middle of it.
It was bad.
It's worse than bad.
Cary,
the only thing that I could say positive about Uncut Gems is that it does give a very accurate portrayal of the culture we're living in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have a kind of favorite scene of The Gentleman, or a favorite moment, favorite character?
Well, I definitely walked out of there being a Colin Farrell fan. I really definitely enjoyed his character, and some of his reactions and his acting, and just the characterization in general.
I love that scene when they're in that fast food joint. These little shit kids are messing with him and pulling knives on him, and he's just teaching him a lesson in manners and smacking him around and shooting the vinegar in his eyeballs. And
right, and all the time he's saying, he's like, I'm not a gangster, I just do gangster things.
And that's 3 homie.
Right.
Yeah, plus, we were discussing this, and I'm not going to put this in terms of a spoiler, but we were discussing something about the film that you and Cary did not think was obvious, and that I thought was obvious from the absolute beginning. I knew that absolute first act of violence was intended to mislead you, and that's, cheating.
It's cheating, but I think it's a pretty modern cheat in cinema these days.
That doesn't excuse it.
So,
in my less than humble opinion, and my opinions are rarely humble.
Sometimes. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You don't think that works in film ever, or specifically in these kind of films?
Well, in these kinds of films, you want something with a little more solidity to it. I mean, you can go from there to the ending of The Sopranos, in which nobody really has ever figured out 100% what happens at the end of The Sopranos. But here, I mean, it was very obvious to me from the beginning that act of violence wasn't what you think it is.
The end of The Sopranos, I think, is one of the most lambasted finales of television ever. I think people just, after devoting so much time to this family and all of the horrible things that have happened, wanted something more, and you just get that fade to black. And I don't think anybody you talk to about The Sopranos, I think, will say the same thing. Do you agree? Do you think it was a cheat, or did you enjoy it?
In The Gentleman?
Yeah.
I think in today's cinema world, it's less of a cheat than it used to be. I think, in the days of people like Tarantino who are going to lead you down a false path on purpose, I think.
Oh, yes.
I think you don't expect, certain things to prevail like you used to. You think you can have the rug swept out from under you. So I think obviously it was a device, but I also think part of what I like about Ritchie's style is like, okay, so it's all kind of playful. And, so he's going to let you wonder. He's not going to like sit and make you bite your nails. He's just going to kind of, toy. He's toying with the concept of what's the real movie and whether it's a script. Also, it's very playful.
You just said something that I completely agree with, which is why I liked this movie a lot and why I did not like Uncut Gems. You're right. You're not biting your nails to this. You're kind of just enjoying the ride that he's taking you on.
Yeah.
And in Uncut Gems, it's just this awful nervousness and uncomfortableness, and you are biting your nails. And I know that you guys walked out. I felt like I needed to see it through because I did have that kind of nail biting moment, and it's basically all for nothing without giving anything away. But yeah, I mean, I think he was doing his job right for The Gentleman, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, at least as far as his, I think when he hit his stride, about half hour into the film, I think he was that kind of playful interchange, between different characters and different plot lines and stuff and then it felt playful because there was some humor to it too, and which I think that's got to be, I'm going to say, is probably part of his style.
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't say that this is as funny as Snatch was. I recommend you both see that, unless you didn't like this, so you probably won't like Snatch then. Acting wise, this has a lot of the big time British names out there right now. You have obviously Charlie Hunnam, who's up and coming, who's the star of Sons of Anarchy. Mm-hmm. Hugh Grant in almost an unrecognizable role. Who else did we have? Obviously Colin Farrell. Do we have a standout star? Because I think we all agreed that we enjoyed Matthew McConaughey. Obviously Matthew McConaughey, who was not British, but his wife, who was played by Michelle Dockery. Dad, did you have a standout star in this?
Yeah, I think Matthew McConaughey was very good for the role.
I think he was very good.
And Michelle Dockery was perfect.
I agree that McConaughey was good for the role, but I think I watch more commercial television than you do, Dad, and I just feel like I've been kind of bludgeoned softly by his image for Lincoln with the same kind of laid back, alpha male, partially stone kind of thing that he does so well in this movie. But I just wish watching this movie that I had never seen any Lincoln commercials.
He was very much that like laid back, cool, like I drive a Lincoln.
Yeah, Ritchie must have almost been tongue in cheek with, oh yeah, it's like you guys know this person, right?
I mean, I really liked Michelle Dockery, but I mean, Hugh Grant was just unrecognizable.
Absolutely.
I know that we didn't like that kind of style at the beginning of just all this exposition and exposition and exposition, but it was still just so unique to see him. And then just playing he was a creep.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was great. And then I have a soft spot for Charlie Hunnam because of Sons of Anarchy, but I like that he was very much this, they call the movie The Gentleman. And he was, even though he's kind of the fixer,
right?
He was a gentleman about doing it until some bad shit goes down.
I don't feel like his performance was
very
really
good, actually.
engrossing me at all.
Sorry,
I don't feel like Hunnam's performance was engrossing me as much as like Hugh Grant or Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, yeah, go ahead.
But no, I think that was the whole point. I mean, he's a person who's so incredibly laid back that you don't think he has all the power that he has.
Well, that's true. He does seem unlikely to have what he has,
but he does.
Yeah,
and I think the film makes a reasonably convincing case for it.
Yeah, I mean that scene specifically too, when they're getting that family's daughter back, and he's just like, "We'll be out of your hair in a few minutes," but then is very like almost passive aggressively just shitting on these kids. I thought that was unique. Let's if we don't have anything else to say about the film, I guess we'll go right into our film reel score. Do you guys want to touch on the movie a little bit more, or are you guys both?
I'm cool.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I think, thoroughly entertaining, somewhat flawed in its structure, but thoroughly entertaining in the playful directorial style and the way the plot was handled.
Does it make you want to go back and watch some of his films that you haven't seen?
Yeah, I'd like to see the one you were mentioning from earlier.
Snatch.
I'd like to see that. Like if it's a similar kind of.
It's a heist movie. It's not exactly the same style, but it's about a big ass diamond.
Yeah,
and
I feel like he would be good at that kind of like fast action thing.
Yeah. How about you?
I haven't any huge desire to see his other movies, but if Snatch shows up on cable, I'll probably watch it.
There you go. Well, let's go ahead and give the good old EIP film reel score. Again, it's out of 5. You can do 1 1/4. You could do 2 1/2. You could do a straight 3 or 4. Whatever you want. We'll start with Cary. We'll end with that. Cary, your film reel score out of 5.
I'll give it a 4.
4. I was not expecting that. Any reason for a 4 besides what you just said?
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like it didn't have anything that really knocked my socks off, which would be a 4.5 or a 5. But I thought it was thoroughly enjoyable and well done.
3.
I'm gonna go with 3.5. About the same. I that first half hour, 45 minutes for me was a little too snoozy, but it was entertaining. It was fun. It had good characters. Not a masterpiece, but it was fun.
It's not a masterpiece. That's why I gave it a 3.
I'm glad that we went and saw it.
I would give Uncut Gems a -1.
I wouldn't even put it on the scale. Yeah. I really disliked that movie a lot. I didn't review it or talk about it on the show at all. Dad, since you are a special guest, I've been trying to get you to do an episode for a while now. I want to try and give you the last word. Is there anything you'd like to mention or say?
No, one thing about this film, of course, is that nobody knows anything about it. I mean, it's not a film that has gotten a lot of publicity. It's like hasn't had a lot of previews on TV or any. I don't watch. I channel surf. So
yes, you do.
So I don't tend to watch the commercials anyway. But I think a film like this deserves a little bit more publicity so that people get a chance to see it. I mean, it's just a film that's worth seeing, but ends up, in my less than humble opinion, being disappointing.
Yeah, I would agree. It didn't get, much like one of my favorite films of 2019, Dr. Sleep, which was the sequel to The Shining, didn't get advertised at all and was probably in my top 3 films of the year. And you've seen little to nothing about this film.
Yeah, well, I missed it because it didn't stay in the theaters.
Yeah,
and I love the book.
Yeah, it didn't make any money. One day maybe we'll come back and we'll talk about those. So.
Sounds good to me.
Well, Dad, Cary, I want to thank you for finally making on Everything is Permitted. I want to have you guys back on again at some point. So thank you. It was a blast. When we come back, we're going to be back at Mazhu Axes, and we're going to be going over some of our top favorite moments from our past. We'll have that when we come back. Stick around. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. And as we've mentioned a few times already in this episode, it is episode number 50. We made it. I'm kind of not shocked, but I'm happy. I'm excited. It's a big benchmark.
I know you did a podcast before this one, a soccer-based one. How many episodes did you make in that?
75, and I know we're going to go way past that.
No, yeah, we're going to beat that eventually.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. It is our 50th episode, and our good friend Rob here actually had the brilliant idea of going over some of our and your favorite moments of these past, I guess, 49 episodes. There might be favorite moments from this if the outtakes make it anywhere.
I think we have some recurring moments.
Yeah. But it is our 50th episode. These are some of our favorite moments. Brittany, we're going to start with you right off the bat. Let's start one of your favorite moments of our past 49 episodes.
One of my favorite moments is our entire Robin Hood review, because if you re-listen to that episode, even assuming you haven't heard the first time, like, oh my God, it's so funny. It still cracks me up to this day because we were just tearing that movie apart. And that was pre-Cats.
If anybody watches movies with me that I don't like, I tend to make a lot of hand motions and sigh and look uncomfortable. And maybe besides Cats, I've never felt like I've wanted to scream at a TV more than when we watched Robin Hood.
It's like the things we were saying during the review too were some of the funniest things we've said on the show. Like, I don't know, just re-listening to it, you're just like, horses don't do that, and why do you have hemlines? Like, it was just...
Why are you
SEAL
wearing
Team 6.
Air Jordans?
Exactly. Oh, my God.
The sheriff's leather trench coat that he
I will
wore.
say that's one of my favorite bargain bin reviews we've done. And I just realized, re-listening to the show again, that I've done almost all the bargain bins with you guys except for the very first one.
Except
The Last
for the first
Witch
one.
Hunter.
Because I came on as a guest
you guessed
for another
it for
one.
San Andreas.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
We've had a lot of the Rock's pecs on.
A lot of The Rock. He
Yeah.
could be a highlight of the show. Just him. And that's it for my first one. We can go around.
Robin Hood.
I actually have that on my list. I did a
Dude,
list
it
of
is.
5,
It's
and
one of our
it was on my list.
You know, Matt and I were at Best Buy together, and we just saw it there, and I was like,
We were Black Friday. I was Black
Yeah.
Friday shopping, and you were tagging along.
In
and
an
you're
earlier episode, you guys like pointed it out.
yeah.
yeah,
You're just like, we should
and
watch that.
The worst part is, I still remember Julian going, "Matt, look," and he like picked it up off the shelves, like it's only like $5, and I'm just like, "Oh no!"
You're like, not now.
Well,
The best part is, Julian, since we've watched it, they actually have had the 4K Steelbook at best. I've seen 2
And
of them.
Matt bought it.
I thought about it. I was like, I'm not spending $30 on this, though.
yeah,
Even
but you
for
know
a
what you did
Steelbook.
do? You actually took it off of my hands.
I still have it if you'd like it back.
I do not. I redeemed the digital code.
Oh, so it's in your account.
I
then.
hope they lose the rights and it goes away.
It'll be forever there. Every time you load up your account, it'll be looking at you.
Matt, you're one of your moments of
So
our 49 episodes.
So one of my a favorite moment of mine, and unfortunately Brittany did not get to experience it with us because she had family thing happen, is our going through Eastern State Penitentiary for the Talking Terror episode.
I still like listening to that one.
Yeah, I know. Had a lot of fun with that. Like, it was a great experience. You know, I think everybody went and had a great time, and it's one of those things that, like, I would definitely love to do again.
I think we need to make that an EIP tradition every year.
Yeah,
and,
we could do
and
something.
go and we could talk about.
Yeah,
the show.
I'll do the little collar.
necklaces,
this time
yeah, you
around.
will.
Do
Next
that
year
this
we should carve pumpkins later, though, because mine fell apart like the next day because it was still like 90 degrees outside.
Oh, it was so weird. Yeah, that was a blast. I had so much fun. Actually, I was going through our past podcast episodes because, as you probably already know, our website is live and on fire.
I love our website.
I love our website
It's so
too.
easy to navigate.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
one of the things I had to do to get it ready is go through every single one of our past episodes and give it some kind of image to go along with the description. And I used one of the pictures that I took for that. And I was just like, that was so awesome. And my magical parking skills came through. I didn't park the car itself, but I got us that spot.
You got so lucky with that. Like, oh, this guy on this street, and we literally got that spot across from the prison. Like,
Had we not gotten that spot, we would have had to go and
We would have
park
been
at the
several
Philadelphia
blocks.
Zoo and get
then
on a
get
shuttle
on the
bus.
bus.
Yeah. So I win.
not today, you didn't.
No.
Oh,
Yes.
spoilers.
Shut up, Matthew.
Yes.
Rob, how about you? Favorite moment from our past 49?
So I really, it's actually kind of like a two-parter. I really enjoyed doing the DLC talk and what's wrong with the video games industry.
That
Yes.
was early on, yeah. Yeah.
It's a deep
I
one,
dug
though.
deep. You kidding me? So yeah, it was fun. Not just because I was on one of the episodes, but it really dug into the industry and saying, okay, what the hell is going on with this? You know, the video game industry. How can we fix it and then move on and enjoy it?
That was fun. We've tended to do, when we want to dig down deep and get a little bit serious, some really good, I don't want to call it an expose, but I guess it kind of almost is. You know, like what is wrong with the video game industry, DLC, crunch period, things like that. And then, you know, also going into, the streaming wars as well.
Yeah. Both those episodes go well together.
Yeah, absolutely. I always have fun talking about the video game industry because it's one of those things where I love video games, but I fully admit that it is a terrible industry that produces them. Like, something that I love is made by like terrible conditions.
Well, yeah,
for
the
people.
publishers, and then, you know, obviously it's such a huge factor right now with games like Cyberpunk and
Yep.
Avengers getting pushed back, and then they've even, I think Matt, you said that they've admitted they're going to still be doing
CD
a crunch.
Projekt Red basically they put it out in their press release. They said, "Oh yeah, we're going to be crunching from now until the game releases later this year." And I was like, Jesus, man.
So one of my favorite moments was going to a movie with you guys that, you know, we all had high hopes for, and we just didn't know what we were going to get. And that movie was not Cats, you son of a bitch. Man, I was getting all serious and you ruined it. And no, that was Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
Going to see Dr. Sleep with you guys was such an awesome experience because, you know, I think we mostly had the theater to ourselves. So as it was going, like, we just kept on like oohing and ahhing and talking to ourselves, like, you know, living this movie together and realizing like we are watching, even though it got no nominations, no play,
no love,
that this
really.
was our, you know, top film of 2019, you know, besides maybe 1917. Dr. Sleep was fun, and it was such an awesome. Matt's glaring because he knows he won his argument for 2020. It was such an awesome film, and you know, we love it. And with that, it's giveaway time.
Whoa!
What?
We are going to take the first 5 people who email us at permittedpod@gmail.com, put them in a random generator, and that person's going to win a steelbook copy of Dr. Sleep. So
I'm gonna go home and email.
You
emailing
right now.
I already
Rob can't do it. Your staff now.
Is it under my seat? Can I
Heather's
sit on my
like,
seat?
well,
Oh.
technically, I'm just in the background. Pulls out her phone.
But yeah, so Dr. Sleep was a blast seeing with you guys. I want other people to enjoy this fantastic film, so we are going to do that giveaway. First 5 people to email us, random generator. One person's going to win Dr. Sleep.
And that means
Steelbook.
they listened to this episode and made it this far.
That's very true. So yeah, that was one of mine. Brittany, back to you.
The next one I have is, it's like our Christmas special we had where we like gave each other presents and stuff. And when Matt got the Kevin Conroy surprise, like I still like freak out about that, even though it wasn't even my present. Like it was just so exciting because when Julian like first got it and he sent it to me ahead of time, he's like, listen to what he said. And I was like, ah, and then we had to keep it secret still. I was like, ah.
Do we want to play it?
Yeah.
All right, let's play it.
In case the audience hasn't heard it.
If you haven't heard our awesome Kevin Conroy station ID, here it is.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. And remember, you're listening to Everything is Permitted.
Man, that little laugh he does at the end too.
That man's voice could like talk me into like pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Like
It's so soothing.
Yeah, I know. He's just, it's like authoritative. It's soothing. It's like, it's everything I need in a voice.
I love it.
So
We love you, Kevin.
So I actually have a little bit of a surprise for you guys. Since you are here at Mazhu Axes, I have something very special. Hold on, let me go grab it real quick.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
He's going off script.
If he comes back with cat ears, I'm going to lose my shit.
I like when we go off script. This is fun.
Oh man, he's digging through his bag over there. What's he got? What is that?
Pop these back on.
Is that, I know what it is.
So
I don't know.
I think I know exactly what that is.
So I've thrown these a couple of times, and I am inviting you after we finish up.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yes, they are. Hold on. Come on.
Premium.
Fucking
Oh my
batarangs.
God.
Batarangs.
Yes,
I love it.
Oh my
we got
God.
batarangs. So
Oh, that's actually really cool. It's sticking in the table, guys, since the audience can't see.
Oh, it'll be on our social media quickly. Don't worry about that.
Well, now we know it's going to be one of our top moments for episode 100.
That was such a good moment to pull that out.
That was
awesome.
well played.
that was very good. That
I
was
think Rob gets a round of applause for that one.
All right?
and these are really fun. And I kid you not, I've had these for a couple of years. I got them randomly from Ren Fair. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with these? I can't throw these. Started up throwing axes, and I'm like, I pull
He's
these
like,
out
I can
one
throw
day.
anything now.
Literally.
Matt, I do just want to quickly say, doing that for you was one of the most awesome experiences because I was like, I thought about it and I'm like, what do you get someone who gets a lot of like physical
Who
stuff
has
for
everything.
himself? Yeah. And this was just such like a unique thing. And the fact that I ordered it and within like 5 minutes, I had a message in my inbox from Kevin Conroy. It's usually just messages.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him if he could possibly throw in the station ID. And to do that, like Kevin Conroy, if you're listening, we love you.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy is the man. He's still the best Batman. I will be totally honest with that. As much as I love, Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, all that, like Kevin Conroy is who I think of whenever I read a comic and hear Batman's voice in my head.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Keep it up. What do you got for your next pick?
So, I'm just going to say even though it was terrible seeing Cats with you guys and
Yes.
discussing it, oh my God.
This ties into my next one too.
Yeah, I literally, like, the movie was terrible, but, like, the discussion, I truly wish we'd been the only ones in the theater because I feel
I don't. Just because of that woman in front of us, she made the experience so
it's
much
a
better.
musical.
I know.
I think she made me appreciate it more.
She made you really, like, step back and take it all
Pulling
in.
the 50-year-old cat lady and going up and yelling at those two teenagers.
Dude, I laughed so hard. I was like,
Oh my God. But yeah, seeing Cats and then discussing Cats afterwards it's definitely a top moment for me, and it's pretty much stuff like that is why we do the bargain bin. So.
It really is. And that ties into my next moment, which was the naked Chewbacca from the Cats review. When you guys saw the naked Chewbacca doll from afar.
I was trying to talk.
I know.
And like, I was
He's
looking
only
at
naked
the
because
corner
he
of
didn't
my
have
eye.
the gun,
and
like
then-
the
yeah,
ammunition.
Didn't have his
strap.
belt across, and
literally
he's like,
just
"Oh my
like-
God, he's naked."
Flat, not for plastic Chewbacca, and I was just like, I just watched Cats,
Yeah.
and that's all I can think of.
And
And,
then
Brittany went and grabbed
literally
it.
grabbed it, and I just kept
Brittany,
petting
she was
Matt with it.
she was like petting me with it.
And then when we would talk about very CG things, I would point to parts of the Chewbacca doll.
Oh, cavity there, Julian.
Brittany, where did the movie hurt you? Where the arm seams happen?
When the cavity took off the coat.
Oh, God.
Back to you, McCavity.
Oh dear God. Okay. So I gotta say, one of the funniest moments besides Cats, fucking Cats.
By the way, sorry, real quick. Cats also did win one of our Facebook polls by a landslide.
Yeah, do you think?
So, Cats was one of your guys' favorite
Because we had
moments.
people wheezing in the workplace
As
listening to it.
Congratulations, Cats! Come and get your award.
I have to say, I've never laughed so hard with the episode with Palpatine sex.
Yes, yes, that's one of my top moments.
Seriously, it's so just so effed up.
Do it harder.
Do it.
Do it.
I don't really want to go down
It's
there.
not taboo. It's not taboo on Naboo.
Oh my God.
Have you heard the tragedy of Darth
Plagueis.
Tingle Fingers?
Plagueis in the sheets. Palpatine in the streets.
I'm just waiting for Julian's Palpatine erotica.
It's happening, guys. I'm already like 10 pages in.
Hashtag Palpatingle.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh Lord.
That's what his wife said.
That was, and we didn't stop either. You know,
No.
That was like a full 10 minutes.
But
I
it
think,
was
of
amazing. And everybody I know who's listened to that episode was like, that whole segment was hilarious. Like, they didn't feel like it went on too long.
no, that's one of my favorite episodes. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just looking for one of our other polls here that we did, and I can't find it. Oh yeah. So we also did a poll talking about whether we liked Matt's and our experience with the random Three Stooges guy at Best Buy.
I love that.
rant. Or my rant on Paw Patrol.
Dude.
And this was actually, people loved both so much, it was a 6-6 tie.
Wow.
Because they're both in the same episode, almost back to back, and it's so funny, like listening to, because this random extra on Three Stooges was there.
He's
Like,
a
as Three Stooges
documentary,
documentary.
I think it
docu-
was.
and he just kept on going on like he wanted us to think he was a big deal. He was like, it's like that scene with Finn in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, big deal.
Yeah, exactly. And you were just like looking, and he was like, I'm on that DVD, and you were like, I'm not buying it. Cool.
I think that's exactly what he wanted us to do.
Yeah.
Too. He's like, you're not going to buy it after you've met me. And like,
And I like
no,
how
bud.
literally your response to Matt was like, I've been on TV more than him.
It's true.
But the Paw Patrol rant, legitimately me with any cartoon I watch with my little cousins. I'm just like, what the?
Jeff Mitchell's like sad that I haven't ranted more about Paw Patrol on the show.
More Paw Patrol rants.
Maybe
well-
that'll be an EIP VIP special.
Well, maybe. Well, and also Cecily doesn't really watch it anymore, so I got to wait for Caleb to start like getting into it when he's a little older,
So
and then
you
we'll
can
have
diss it
more. Yeah,
You're such an interesting father,
Sure, wait for the kids to watch it,
Yeah,
Julian.
exactly.
quote unquote.
Oh man,
Who's your favorite character in Paw Patrol?
Come on, look at me, Rocky, man, not Rocky. Sorry, Rubble on the double.
Wow. Okay.
And he knows the characters.
He said Rocky, and I was
Of
like,
course,
Rock.
I know the characters.
Oh man.
Who's going next? Me?
I got to think of another one, so I didn't make a list like you
Okay.
guys.
My next one is The Rock's pecs, because it doesn't matter what film we're watching, they have to incorporate it.
The jiggle. The shake.
jiggle, the peck jiggle, and that godforsaken Journey 2, where they like bounce berries off of it, and it was like such a long scene, and you're like, this is
massively uncomfortable.
Should not have been a movie. But anyway, The Rock's pecs, you know, he seems supportive.
Made it through
He won
both
a good hug.
that and
San Andreas.
San Andreas.
Yeah, in the pecs we trust. Pecs are permitted. Everything is pecs. I don't know.
I'm just all I
Julian
can
can't think of a response now.
Is The Rock's massive pectoral muscles. Yeah.
The man earned it. That's what we gotta give it
Well,
to.
it got you away from Idris Elba and a cat.
Not
suit.
now.
Totally
Now
naked.
it's
Well,
back
now
in my
Idris
head.
Elba's
Thanks,
back.
Pop.
Thanks. So wonderful.
Back to you, sir.
So I will say this. Also, I love our free comic book day episode. It was kind of like it was also Brittany's first appearance.
It was.
It was also like we kind of got people involved. We had people kind of swirling around. It was a nice like live.
You did
quote-unquote,
Facebook
event.
Live, right?
We did. We Facebook Lived it.
Yeah. So I enjoy that episode. And as I said, introduced us to Brittany, who obviously is now with us. So
And now you can never get rid of me.
and
like
the
a
puns, all the puns.
Yep. I love how
By the way, Matt,
professional
I had
sound.
no idea what we were getting ourselves into when I asked her to join the show. I did not know ahead of
Did I
time.
not sound
that
so
she made
professional and like
puns.
chill on that one? And then you guys invited me in, and I was like, yes, I'm so weird.
Plant complete.
Exactly.
Execute orders.
I mean, I enjoy.
66.
I still do the social media, so I still enjoy that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I'm gonna. Sorry, Rob. I'm gonna go because I thought of one real quick. I have to take it all the way back to our very first episode because, like, listen, like we literally decided to do this thing finally. We literally recorded our first episode in my kitchen.
Yeah.
And you know, I was going back because I was writing my article on Batwoman because Karen and I talked about Batwoman in that episode, but just like hearing us talk and like. Yeah, we were like a little, you know, we were getting to know our vibe together, but still, like, not a lot has
It's
changed.
still really
like,
good.
I think we really hit something with this thing, and like going back and listening to our first episode was really cool. I mean, the audio wasn't as great as it is now.
Dude, I love the shift in audio when you
Yeah.
like listen. We should do a challenge where it's like, guys, re-listen to like the first like 1 through 50 because
Yeah.
you can hear it. It's like
Yeah, it really is. But
now
like
we've achieved godlike
literally
status.
going from
Audio quality.
recording in my kitchen to having to deal with like the dogs barking
Yeah.
or a kid walking in randomly to now having our awesome basement location.
And
at
we're literally on
Wade's and-
site at a
yeah.
different
We are
location
our
right now.
first, you know, in our 50 episodes, our first location. Like it's really cool. Like
Yeah.
it was awesome to go back to that. Back to you, McCavity. I'm just gonna call you out
So
the rest of the
you've looked at
episode.
my list,
You've lost your name.
No. So actually, I did want to say the first episode, just because I'm going to get sentimental.
Ooh, I like
I'm bringing it down for a
Brittany's
moment.
gonna cry.
Sentimental.
Seriously, it just shows how far you guys have come. Just listening to the first couple of minutes of it and hearing, oh yeah, we're going to do this crazy thing called the permitted minute, and ultimately failing and saying, wow, we're never going to be able to do this with how many? I forget how many you guys.
It was
had
like
that
probably
day.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
I forget.
Flat out saying, yeah, we're never going to be able to do this. And now you guys are doing it.
And now we're like 16, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. And you're challenging other people to do it. And just the overall, just the episode, it's just really great. And it just shows the evolution of the show, what it's becoming and the future of it. It really makes me excited. And I hope really for all of you guys listening and all of you guys, hopes it makes you excited as me listening to that and then listening to
Rob, were you with us from the beginning? Did you like when we first started the show? Were you? You're not going to offend me if you say no, but like, did you listen like when we first launched?
No, I think I came in a couple of episodes later down the road. So
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
I was there I was listening like the first half of the first season.
Cool.
I will say I didn't know about you guys until I did Free Comic Book Day, and then I immediately started listening.
I know.
And I was like, Mom, check it out.
Yeah,
My mom became a huge listener too.
she did. That's true. That's true.
She shares all the memes.
The Tomes Foundation.
The Tomes Foundation.
The Tomes Foundation.
brings everything is permitted to listeners like you. Go ahead.
Okay, so one of my favorite things isn't even a specific moment, but it's Matt's continual love-hate relationship with Best Buy. Specifically the location near us. But like, dude, going back, when you listen to all these different episodes, like half the time his rant is either about Best Buy or his rave is about Best Buy. And like from his Xbox being fixed in that really amazing time they pulled through for him, awesome. For every time they don't have the steelbook he wants or something goes shitty and he has to go all the way to the one down here. Like it's so funny. Like I love it. We all have our quirks and that's his for sure. He's
Yeah,
like,
that's my quirk.
he's like, I love Best Buy, I hate it.
Best, your love-hate relationship with Best Buy has led to us like believing that we should have some kind of sponsorship from them.
I don't know if they'd want me to do that.
But at the same time, they have, I think, gotten the most use out of this button.
Get your shit together.
That's for sure.
And it's not Best Buy as a brand, Matt. It's Oxford Valley Best Buy.
Yeah,
You can say that about a lot of Oxford Valley
except
stores.
the one experience you had at the Boulevard.
Oh yeah, that one the other week. So, my go or
yes, sir.
All right, so I really enjoyed doing this episode, and it's something that I definitely want to do again. Is our pitching pages episode, and we talked about books or comics or stuff that we would love to see made into movies or TV shows. Always love talking about that kind of crap because there's so much stuff out there that just either hasn't gotten a good adaptation or is just never been known well enough about to get an adaptation. And yeah, I love the pitching pages episode.
I think I'm just going to make that announcement now since we do like it so much. Episode 52 when we come back March 17th. One of our segments will be pitching pages. There we go.
Yeah, we should do the casting call another time. It doesn't have to be back to back.
We haven't done classic casting call since Indiana Jones.
You were so broken by that. You were just like, I felt so dirty doing it.
I did.
I love it.
Rob, go ahead.
I really enjoyed kind of like the two-parter episode of when you guys did the final season of Game of Thrones.
Oh,
the
yeah,
roundtable discussions. I believe it was with
Brian
Barry.
Barrish. Yep.
Just hearing the straight hatred of the last part of the season.
We were all betrayed.
Was just like, and you know what? It's good. It was good to talk about it. Just to hear everybody's opinions, and people like it. People absolutely hate it, but I'm kind of on the bridge of saying, you know what?
It was fucking
sucked.
awful. Yeah,
it sucked. And you know what? We're gonna open up the can of worms again of the whole freaking war scene. But that's how war is at night with the lights and whatnot. 1917.
I don't know. I was about to say 1917 did it better.
Movie.
Because they have competent cinematographers.
Yeah, no, right?
But,
about that.
Yeah. Speaking of review specials, we did another Facebook poll. We asked you what was what was the review special that you enjoyed more, our Mandalorian opening episode review special or our Rise of Skywalker review special. And it was very handedly our Mandalorian review special. And this isn't my next one, but one of my favorite moments of the show so far is when I hit our music and you didn't know what was about to happen. So it went dun, dun, dun,
yeah, and I was like...
Wah, 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 wah. And you were just like,
yeah, no.
The look on your face.
Mind blown.
I was so excited because that's when I knew I was like, this live event's going to be fucking lit. And it was. The chat blew up. We had so much participation. Everybody was super excited about the show, whether they already saw it or not. So cool.
We have time for one more, and I guess I'll end this thing. Brittany, my last moment is literally since you've been on for our second season, since we've had you, the evolution of your dad puns, my friend.
This isn't even my final form.
We went from having like maybe one soundbite for you where it's like now I can't decide what page I have to go to on our soundboard to shame the hell out of you.
I
for
was
your
real
puns.
polite at first. I'd only throw a few in there, scattered.
And now it's gone to a point where we even have the hashtag Shut Up Brittany challenge, and we have people actually sending us videos or audio of saying Shut Up Brittany because your puns are so fucking bad.
Which I created myself because my hubris knows no bounds.
Oh, man.
So
You did. You literally
please,
set up
guys,
a challenge
I was like,
to
please
shame
do this.
yourself.
I want Patrick Stewart to do it.
You have added something to this show that I didn't know I wanted and sometimes really just don't want at all. Thank you for
It sounds like
that.
a eulogy. I'm going to cry.
That wraps up our big 50th episode, guys. We're 50. We're 50 episodes old.
We're 50 episodes.
I don't want to be 50 years old. Yet. That would be bad news.
We're reaching our golden years, guys.
With being 50, I know our season finale is next week, but with being 50 episodes in, I just want to send a huge, huge thank you to everyone who has supported our podcast over the past year and a half. You have no idea how much this means to me. I'm sure Matt and Brittany as well. This has been such a fun adventure. We're taking that quick break. We can't wait to do 50 more. We love this show. We love our listeners. We love interacting with you. We can't wait to show you what else we have in store.
Let's go throw a batarang.
Let's go throw a batarang for Matt, for Brittany, for Rob. I'm Julian. Have a good night.
You can find Everything is Permitted on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Everything is Permitted is produced by Rob Migliaccio, Nikki Veazey, and Geneva Stein-Shivers. Our executive producers are Michael Cox, Brittany Tomes and the Tomes family, and Julian Brown.